We are live. Hello, everyone. Great to have you with us for Polkadot July Roundtable. And July was a huge month, and Web3 Summit took place in Berlin. And Gavin dropped some major announcement that could reshape the future of Web3 and as we know it. And today we're going to unpack it all. And for today's conversation, we will dive into how pop could change the game and the new token economy model, what this means for Treasury, the potential impact on ecosystem projects, and of course, big questions, where will all the newly unpacked dot actually go? So stay with us, and we've got a lot to explore. And first of all, let's meet all of our guests today. So I will invite all of our guests to introduce them a little bit yourself and your background. So how about Philip, you kick it off?
Thank you for having me. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Filippo, and I'm technical educator at the Web3 Foundation. My main duties are essentially to maintain the documentation, update the documentation, public speaking, and in general, engagement also with the community, and learn about the ecosystem. And also, I was later this year a student at the PBA, and I'm supporting the PBA as an instructor. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, welcome, Philip. And for all the audience, if you have anything regarding to Web3 and to Polkadot, you can leave your questions on the comment, and Philip can respond to you directly. Okay, it's a great chance. So YC, could you introduce you a little bit?
Hi, I'm YC. I'm the CTO of the New Generations, and I'm doing the coding parts. And if you have any questions, you could just leave it in the chat room, and we could reply you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, welcome YC. And it's always to have some teams from the JAM development, and it's all the audience are very caring about what's happening on JAM. Okay, so next let's welcome Max.
Hey everybody, good to be back here. Always a pleasure to be on the Polka World live stream. I'm wearing two hats, Harbor Industrial Capital and Polka Port East, and today I'm gonna share a few announcements for both of them. On both sides we're making some good progress, so bear with me. I'll share that momentarily. But yeah, good to be here again. Thanks for the invite, Kristen.
Yeah, and welcome, Max. And last but not least, let's welcome Tyrone.
Hey everyone, this is Tyrone from Bifrost. Bifrost is the liquid staking app chain in Polkadot, and we are using core time nodes to the power chain. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. So without further ado, let's dive into our conversation. The first part, I have some specific questions to each of our guests. And the first is for Max. And because there are so much things happening in July for HIC, and you attended the Web3 Summit in July. And last week, we saw your proposal to introduce the PCF to sign a strategic cooperation agreement with Hong Kong's office for attracting strategic enterprises. And now today, you've just announced the HIC Fund 2 investment in 4 exciting projects. I'm sure our audience is very eager to hear more. So could you walk us through these key updates and one by one?
Absolutely. Yeah. So as I said, glad to be here. Today we came out with some pretty big announcements from our fund. It actually just went live through the press through a press agency, and it's already been picked up by CoinDesk and by Cointelegraph and by a few other like mainstream crypto media outlets. So basically, the news that we're finally able to share is that we completed our first 4 investments out of Fund 2, totaling $1.2 million. And they went into Kylex, into Mandala Chain, into Hyperbridge, and into Excavate. So all of these projects, I think, are very familiar to anyone who's like listening to the Polka World broadcast more regularly. I think like, many of them have been on, or maybe even all of them have been on this live stream in the past. Friends of the pod, so to speak. And from our perspective, Harbor Industrial is looking to invest in early stage growth companies with, disproportional upside potential. And I think all 4 of them fit the bill. I could talk about all of them for a long time in terms of why we decided to invest there. But maybe, I'll leave that for, I leave these guys to speak for themselves. Fact is, we have invested there. The total number is $1.2 million, which I think is a pretty decent size for like a early stage allocation. Obviously, like all of these projects have huge upside potential. Not financial advice here, obviously, but we're investing in these projects with a clear mandate of generating a return on investment for our LPs, which, by the way, includes the Web3 Foundation. And so, yeah, it's quite exciting to finally be able to announce that. We've been working on these deals for a long time. I mean, maybe up to half a year or so. Things have been under wraps for a long time, and we've been in negotiations about the exact variation, about like the size of our tickets, and now finally this has been finalized, and like the press announcement is out. So that's obviously something that we're quite excited about together with the teams. What I could also say is that this obviously was not the last round of investments. So while these 4 are the first ones that we're investing in through Harbor Industrial Capital Fund 2, we will quite certainly invest in more projects that are building on Polkadot. In general, this is sort of a trend that I think is going to continue, right? Less grants and more investments for Polkadot-based projects, and Harbor Industrial is obviously looking to lead the charge here, investing in quality projects that have like a good ROI potential here, and that are in the right stage of growth. And so what I can say here, to all the builders out there who are listening to this live stream, if you're looking to raise, if you're building on Polkadot, come and talk to us. We're always happy to take a look. I guess those 4 investments that we have just announced is a testament to us being serious about the investments that we're making. The exact amount obviously always depends on the stage that the project is in and the growth potential that we see. But in general, yes, we are investing. We will continue to invest. We're very keen. We're very bullish on the Polkadot ecosystem. I think there are lots of gems, a lot of like undervalued companies out there, companies that are doing great stuff, but that haven't really fully woken up to their potential yet. And it is our mission to identify them as early as possible and invest there. So that's what we do as a VC fund.
Yeah, cool. Great to hear. Would you like to talk about the proposal?
Yes, exactly. So let me put on my other hat, right? Like I'm taking off the Harbor Industrial hat and wearing the Polkaport East hat. I should actually literally get myself a hat here, I guess. So yes, this is also something pretty exciting. As you guys know, I'm based in Hong Kong since many years, and Hong Kong is my adopted home city. And together with Vincent and Thibaut, we are running Polkaport East, which is a growth and IR initiative for Hong Kong, for Polkadot in Hong Kong. And so kind of over the last year or so, we have had we made some pretty good inroads, in my opinion, getting into conversations with the Hong Kong government, right? And like the entity that we're talking to is OASIS, the Office for Attracting Strategic Enterprises, which is an entity that sits directly underneath the Financial Secretary of Hong Kong, which, if you're not familiar with Hong Kong, is kind of the equivalent of the Minister of Finance for Hong Kong, right? So it's a very high-profile government entity. And yeah, as the name says, they're trying to attract strategic enterprises. And we, Polkadot East, are trying to get Polkadot in front of them to consider Polkadot like a strategic enterprise that, gets more business opportunities in the city of Hong Kong. And this is actually something that we're very excited about because the government is essentially ready to sign the contract. They want to work with Polkadot. And so one of the kind of issues that we encountered is that the government cannot really, they need to sign with some sort of an entity, right? If they want to sign with Polkadot, then the question is oh yeah, so who do they sign with? We first thought okay, Parity, but that's not really Polkadot, that's like the development company, right? Then the foundation, which could do that, but then again, the foundation has all kind of limitations, like entering into strategic cooperation agreements with governments. It's generally something they prefer not to do. And then we kind of came up with the idea to run this via the PCF, right, the Polkadot Community Foundation, because that is a legal entity that can represent the Polkadot DAO. And as such, we have launched a proposal to set up a Hong Kong subsidiary of the PCF. And the reason for that is that we know that the government told us that to meet the requirement to get into OASIS, we have to have a local company, right? We have to have a Hong Kong company. If we just say we have a Cayman company, that wouldn't be good enough for them. So it needs to be a Hong Kong company. So this proposal that we currently have live on OpenGov is to set up a subsidiary of the PCF in Hong Kong and then use this entity to enter into the strategic cooperation agreement with the government of Hong Kong, right? So I think it's a great opportunity. It also doesn't really cost very much, frankly speaking, because we're not having any operating expenses. The costs that we're requesting there is only for the legal fees. So yes, you can say it's expensive for legal fees, but that's actually what it is. That's the money that will only go to the lawyers and to the incorporation fees. But yeah, that's just how it is working with lawyers in general. We're not getting anything out of it, so we don't have any financial upside in this at all. But we just think it's a good opportunity for Polkadot, and that's why we hope that it's going to pass. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, cool. And I've pasted the proposal link to our comment. And anyone want to support this proposal, and as long as you hold some thought, you can vote for this proposal. And as an DV, Polkadot already conducted our vote, and we voted A to this proposal. So anyone interested can click to the link and to have to read it in detail. And also I paste the Max Twitter on the comment as well. So if anyone interested in reaching out to Max to talk about your project, you can reach out to him from the Twitter. And also you can reach out to Polkadot, because Polkadot is one of HIC's advisor board. So it's very exciting to see so much happening on HIC. Okay, thanks, Max.
Thank you. Appreciate the support from Polka World here.
Okay, and I know that Max and Philip are all attended the Web3 Summit, and we are very generous about this, and we didn't make it. Polkadot didn't make it in Berlin, so I want to hear Philip and Max share your experience in Web3 Summit, and what's your feelings toward this summit, and what's the main topic are are talking in this summit, and what's the biggest takeaway from this summit? So how about Philip, you kick it off.
Right. So, I mean, the Web3 Summit was quite interesting. It was my first Web3 Summit. I didn't attend the previous times. So I was actually a judge in the hackathon. I think like the hackathon was really a great experience. Really amazing job by the Sub-Zero team. And it was also like there was the Kusama track, which was focused on ZK, proof of personhood, and like social platforms. And we had quite nice projects there. Was actually a very, I would say like the venue was very nice, the Funkhaus in Berlin. And it was the original venue of the first, of course, first Web3 Summit, when Gavin Wood actually launched a full blockchain with a brand new MacBook in, I think it was 2018 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I attended the first day, all the talks. I think they were all very interesting. And yeah, of course, like Gavin Wood, that talk was very highly attended. A lot of stuff was said during the talk, which is also now publicly available, together with interpretations on social media. There are different different opinions, and of course a lot of stuff was said about Jam and ZK Jam and the future direction, possible future direction of Polkadot. It's still very, I would say, unclear how the next 6 to 12 months will develop. Also, because internally at the Web3 Foundation, we have now Bill Laboon as also VP of Ecosystem. This is a new role that was basically created during Web3 Summit. So a lot of changes will be probably on the horizon, and this will include also probably ecosystem direction and communication and growth and potential strategies, also around the topic of Gavin at Web3 Summit. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited in general. There are always a lot of technicalities that are said during these talks, and a lot of people also get confused. I would say that for the audience, of course, I mean, Polkadot is the main project. Jam is a major, very important technical upgrade. The Jam chain, as specified also in the documentation under the Polkadot wiki. If you can visit the new docs that have been also reorganized, you can see the Jam section with the Jam chain. What is the Jam chain? What are actually the benefits of this new technology compared to the current Polkadot relay chain, right? So definitely it's a very exciting upgrade, but I really want to, remember that Polkadot is a technology powerhouse and pioneering in this space, and as such takes time for upgrades to actually mature and go to production. And currently on Polkadot, on the short term, we have other kind of smaller projects that are on the horizon. We have elastic scaling and Polkadot 2.0 that we launch very soon. This will allow parachains like Bifrost, for example, that is using a Polkadot core via core time to rent additional power from Polkadot and security, if they need to, of course. This will not affect all the chains. And then we have the Polkadot Hub, the launch of Polkadot Hub, and with EVM smart contracts to bring like Solidity developers and smart contracts into Polkadot. Yeah, this is on the very short term, and yeah, I mean, the summit in general, it's a very interesting space to be, because it's always like not it's kind of agnostic. It's not only about Polkadot. I would say it's not about Polkadot, except a few talks from Parachains or from Gavin. All the rest, like, they are outsider speakers that they present also their philosophy around the ecosystem, around blockchain technology in general. So yeah, it was well attended, and in general, I had a positive opinion about a positive impression about it. And I would like to thank you also, the organization of the Web3 Foundation, and people that volunteered to make this happen.
Yeah, great to hear. Polkadot attended the first Web3 Summit. It's very exciting. So, Max, do you have something to share about the Web3 Summit?
Well, absolutely. I'm even wearing the Web3 Summit T-shirt today, as you can see. I put it on specifically for this show, but it's a great T-shirt. On the back of it, it says "Less trust, more truth," which is, I guess, the slogan of Polkadot in general, but the Web3 Summit in particular. Look, it was a great event. It was a really good event. So for us, I mean, we were there all 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it was really nonstop meeting people, interesting conversations. Everyone was kind of there, except of Polka World, unfortunately. Hope to see you guys there next year. But other than that, like, really, like, people from America, from Asia, from all over Europe, it was really good. Look, what are the key takeaways? I mean, I guess, you could break it down into multiple different categories. Gavin's speech was very interesting, but I think I'll save my comments about that for a bit later in this show, because I think we're going to talk more about, like, Gavin's proposed, changes to inflation and to dot supply. So let's put that aside for a second. Other things that I found actually pretty interesting is there's a lot of governance related talk, and one thing that I kind of observed during this Web3 Summit, like in various conversations, is kind of the ideas of bounties, or like sort of special expertise of voters becoming more important, right? Because everyone is kind of complaining about, like, governance, this and that doesn't work, and like so many, like, governance gets flooded with like so many proposals, and each of them is very kind of getting debated very actively and so on. But then there are a lot of voices, and it's kind of quite messy, right? So there are different solutions to it, but on multiple fronts, I heard people talking about different kind of bounties, right? And what a bounty is essentially is say that for a certain topic, we let the experts take care of it, right? The individual decision making. So I guess, like, a great example is the marketing bounty, right? Which, if you remember in the past, like, everything came to OpenGov, right? And like, oh, I want to sponsor like a football team in Brazil. Like, okay, sure, yes, maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not a good idea, but all these things would come to OpenGov. Now, all of these things kind of have to go to the marketing bounty, and in the marketing bounty, you have people who are experts in this field, and who have an overview of things that are going on, and that are looking at each individual proposal. So I think that's kind of a positive thing, and you see this happening in other domains as well, right? So the obvious other examples are the meetup bounty, right? That is doing global meetups, or the events bounty, that is doing events related stuff. And what else? Oh yeah, sort of the kind of the DeFi onboarding, kind of DeFi integration bounty, right? Where they're working on, like, integrations with exchanges, for example, with liquidity providers, with custody solutions, right? Like this kind of rather technical thing, like gives the decision making to the bounty curators who are experts in this particular field. So I think this is actually something to be welcomed. So this is like a positive development that more and more bounties are getting active. And I guess like the one field where this is not existing yet, or where this is still in the infancy, is investments, right? Where investments on behalf of the DAO, where the DAO like holds equity in a project. That's something that people are starting to talk about, right? Shouldn't the DAO be able to invest in projects that are building on Polkadot? And if so, how to best do it, right? Do it directly, let everyone vote on everything all the time, right? At the risk of this getting quite confusing, quite messy, not particularly coordinated. Or does it make sense to work with bounties here, right? And there were some really interesting conversations for me during the Web3 Summit. We had a node space, for example, on the second day. Node space is kind of the idea. You have a bunch of people sitting around the table, just brainstorming about ideas. So we did that, for example, and that was really like interesting, very, good input there from like people who are very deep in the governance space. And then we had like, all kind of conversations with other, people at the Web3 Foundation, at Parity, in the various verticals from different parts of the world. So I think we'll hear more about that, right? I think it's not all the details are hashed out yet. But for me, this was actually one of the bigger takeaways, besides Gavin's speech, about things that people are excited during the Web3 Summit in Berlin.
Thanks for sharing. I think this is very important information. Because I think Polkadot is a DV, and we've been reviewing proposal for almost 4 months, and we've spent tons of time on studying new stuff. And when come across the technical proposals, and with the help of a GPT, and we still need a few hours to understand one proposal. And I think it's very important that we will have some expertise, work on one direction that will make the review of a proposal more efficient. And also, we are very looking forward to see the VC bounty happening on Treasury soon. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's move to Bifrost. And Bifrost is a kind of superstar in Polkadot ecosystem because of your consistency in growing. And in July, and Bifrost saw an impressive more than 25% growth, and totally bucking the market trends. Can you share, how Bifrost achieved this performance?
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm glad to share that this milestone is succeeded by multiple parties, to be honest. For example, like HIC, they help us a lot, like connecting relationship with hydration from the beginning, And also we have efforts from Max and Thibault on collaborating between institutional clients and also the ecosystem partners besides hydration. And we also have a lot of attention or tractions from DeFi partners outside of the Polkadot ecosystem, like Ethereum. So we have the chance to build up the liquid staking ETH for the next step. So by stepping out at the moment, we've been collaborated with hydration for several months or even a year. So that's quite a big milestone that we do the partnership product, which named Gigadot, and is actually collateralized by VDOT. That's the liquid staking token that Bifrost issued. So that's, I have to say that's there's a mega collaboration in the ecosystem right now. And you can see in the DeFi field inside of Polkadot, so how many names you can mention about is Bifrost, Hydration, and then what? So we must, to make sure the flagship is making through the users and the liquidity to make those investors and also institutional clients to have their eye and sight on this. So recently we've been connected with some institutional clients. They are very interested about where to put DOT inside of Bifrost or Hydration. So they literally got a very best solution is that using the Gigadot to maximum their amplify yield. So I have to say the massive increasing that's passing by these months is being pushing by also the clients have interest on the yield of leveraging by using the G-Dot product. And also we have institutional clients jump into it. That's a very good signal for this ecosystem, and also for the DeFi in Polkadot. We can expect it to see once we have the Polkadot hub to be live, and which means the pre-compile will be landed, and which will make sure that the developers will have more interest to fast deliver the protocol clients, and also like automations applications on the chain. So we have more flexibility to accept more liquidity to make sure users have choices in this field. So that's yeah, thank you. That's what I want to share.
Okay, thank you so much. And you there are the incentives going on Bifrost, and so I suggest you to follow Bifrost to catch up the opportunities. So now let's move to YC, and I saw a lot of fans here. They're sending messages to you, and so now let's welcome you to introduce your new JAMnation. There's been a lot of attention around JAM in Polkadot ecosystem. So naturally, that brings curiosity around JAM related projects. So can you share what new JAMnation has been working on and what milestones you've achieved so far?
Okay, and for JAM, actually, we're building a we are building a protocol like others do in the Azure, or like others do in the Amazon, and we are doing one protocols of clouds in the Web3's world. So for the JAM, we designed it as a set of components, which is made up by the PVM, STF, and we also do the networking part and the node implementation, and also the like JNP and more. Yeah, but right now we are actually up to nearly the latest in implementation of the version graphical 0.7.1, but our fuzzy test is just as I said, are still running on the version 0.6.6. So we're basically waiting for the official release to catch up. And all the milestone ones features are done. So most of our time these days is spent on the remaining phase, like finishing up the JAMnP roadmap and building up the JAM recompiler. And for the recompiler parts, we are talking about how to building a platform to transport the to translate the machine code to bytecode, which could that us able to communicate with different kinds of languages like Rust or Go or other computer language you could think, and as long as it could be recompiled as a RISC-V a RISC-V type. Yeah. So the remaining thing we are doing now is for the PVM part.
Okay, so cool. Very good to know. And anyone interested in new JAMnation, and you can follow YC, and I will send her Twitter later.
Yeah, we're also doing the streaming on the Twitch. If you have heard that streaming platform.
Okay, cool. Welcome. Okay, now let's move to our next topic, which is Gavin's Berlin's talk. There's so much information at Web3 Summit, and Gavin outlined about the vision for Polkadot future, and he believes the network's current security cost is too high, and proposed replacing NPS with a POP system where validators' rewards are fixed and dot supply becomes fixed, and a halving mechanism is introduced. So this all gonna impact a lot to the ecosystem as a whole. So let's unpack them all. The first part I want to give to Tyrone, because VDOT is a major product of Bifrost, and also other Bifrost products are built on POS. So if POS is to be replaced, will this have a major impact on your product strategy?
Yeah, there will be impact for sure, and I guess there will be a positive impact, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, like the changes won't be happen suddenly, right? It's not like this time right now is happening POS, and then next time, and then 1 minute later it will be switched to the proof of human, right? It's not going to happen. So I guess it will be transformed in a more like gentle way. So which means over the past maybe passing 1 or 2 years, and I guess it will really happen on chain. But at least now, I guess there's nothing coded is doing right now. So decreasing the inflation and also decreasing the staking rewards will make the activation of DeFi, to be honest. If let's say, given a simple example, right? Like what's the stable yield of the votes in MoFo, Ethereum, or in Ethereum Midnight, or anything of staking yield or stable yield is more than 6% in Aave, right? If you look at the whole maps, there's literally nothing except the incentive, right? So lowering the yield and lowering the staking reward might be more interesting on attracting more of users and liquidity into the ecosystem. Right now is like restriction by the high staking yield, so people won't find a better yield opportunity in the ecosystem, so they won't come in, and we need to deliver the chances to outside world, to outside chains, so we can make it happen. But it's quite difficult. It's quite difficult to like delivering all the liquidity and opportunities by using the bridges. As right now we are doing some collaborations with Hyperbridge, delivering the DeFi Singularity campaign across layer 2s and also Ethereum Midnight. But the issue that I'm encountering with is that users feels very complicated on the bridging things back and forth. And also you will find out that oracles, they will also have the barriers to query the price on the bridged assets. So some fundamental things is not relatively fluent, to be honest. So I guess if we can stable the yield of the staking rewards, then we will be more easier way for the gateway to passing the assets through all this different ecosystem and collaboration with different DeFi protocols. That's going to be a chance.
Okay, good to hear. And Polkadot did a math, and there will be 45 million staked dot to be freed. And so if all flow into the DeFi ecosystem or into the DeFi in Polkadot ecosystem, I think we believe that Polkadot will break into top 10 regarding DeFi. Okay. So next angle, I will give it to YC. Do you think dramatically reducing validator rewards could discourage node participation? And can non-profit node incentives work? And what are the biggest challenges for client teams, when transitioning from a POS to POP?
Yeah, okay. In my opinions, I consider that it's not just about a technique problem. It would be more like a political problem. So it may be a big revolution to say that if you don't give the validator that much money, yeah, so you have to convince them to move from the old the old mode to the new mode. So I think it would be a big challenge because they're running the validators should be a difficult things because you may need many expensive you may spend many expensive things, and you need people to run the node. So it would be a difficult thing at the beginning. But well, if you have read the history of the POP, they have discussed the POPs before. Yeah, you would see that the money you spending on the POP would be about 80% of less than the POS. So for a long term for a long term thinkings, you might need to cost down the you might need to cost down the for the validators spending. So well, I think it would be a good thing for the Polkadot ecosystems, but we need time to convince these people to move to the new mode. Yeah, and sorry for the second questions. Could you repeat it?
What are the biggest challenges from client teams when transitioning from a POS to POP?
Well, the biggest for the technique parts, we know that we might able to complete it, but it would be the first time to do the POP, the POPs on the blockchains. So we have to confirm how to do this at the first, then we could discuss how to do it. Yeah, so I think that the first thing we have to do is to confirm the way how to do it, so we can know how to design the POP validators. Also, it including the parts of how to prove that you are less people, because if you're in the POP, because if you are in the POP systems, you have to prove that you are the people, so you could vote and one people have one people can vote one time. So it is a dilemmas that you have to prove you are the people who can vote, but you don't need to give up too much about privacy. Yeah, it would be the difficulty too. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for sharing. I think there are a lot of non-tech savvy in from our audience, and if you cannot follow this part, don't worry. We will have the Chinese recap published in our WeChat account, so you can read the test version after after I think next week. So
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, thanks for
if you
sharing.
can't understand, maybe we could do it in Chinese too.
Okay, thanks YC for sharing. And next on go is to the Philip and Max, and because the proposed this change is huge, and uh, the economic model would also reduce treasury income significantly. That might frustrate some contributors and even push them away from the ecosystem. We're saying so because we feel that strongly. We have already felt strong pressure during the DV progress from maintaining we set up our own principle and to keep the developer's salary no more than $100 an hour, and if are for maintenance, and we won't support any proposals their salary are higher than $30 an hour. So a lot of proposals are already told us that that's too low, that's impossible. I can feel they're frustrated. So I think if the treasury income reduced significantly, that's going to happen to the treasury for sure. So do you think a smaller treasury might make contributors less motivated or less willing to participate? I want to hear the perspective from you two guys. How about Philip, you kick it off?
Okay, yeah, first I think I want to start from saying that the talk at Web3 Summit about these things were suggestions. So nothing has been decided, nothing is just has been presented, and as such, I'm seeing people that they are taking it as, okay, this is what will happen, right? 100%. So first of all, like, we're already discussing about something that we don't even know, like, if it will if it will be, like, what to say, executed as it was proposed. First thing, right? The second thing is the fact that the Treasury will receive less funding. This is not necessarily true. It depends from the percentage of inflation that will be directed to the Treasury with this type of upgrade, right? So the main concern is that currently the Treasury is receiving 15% from inflation, and most of the inflation is going to pay for security, right? So we don't know if the reduction will be just that fraction that will be used to pay for security. I mean, the Treasury is a very important thing. It has been funding many activities. It has been like a great social experiment in the past 2 years, together with OpenGov. I don't think that there is any reason of reducing the inflow to the Treasury now that we just passed a referendum where we actually increase it and make it like constant, because before was not even like a constant inflow. So now it's fixed, right? We have 120 million dots every year. 15% is going to the Treasury. That's it. The inflation that has been like already proposed, it's kind of capped already, right? Of course, it's like in 20 years from now and nobody cares about it. But the fact that there are only 120 million DOT that are released every year, the inflation will decrease like as a consequence, right? Because there will be more DOT every year, but there will always be 120 million DOT that are released. So it's like a curve that is doing like this, right? So it's already like kind of if you want to think about it, like a fixed supply in the long term, right? Very, very, very long term. Of course, like the whole, there are also like other aspects that I think Max can later like comment on it. But if you go to investor and you say that the DOT supply will be capped in 20 years, they are not gonna look at it right now, right? So this is another thing that might be a very, very important in the short term, right? Regarding like, how people spend the treasury funding and how much people should be charged for their work, I think I have seen like people asking for crazy amounts, funding crazy things. I think like as long as you guys and the DV, decentralized voices, are sensible about what type of hourly rate someone should take depending on their activity, if it's a developer, if it's social media and whatever. I mean, this should continue like this. I mean, there you will be always have people that are frustrated. There will be always people that are unhappy, and there will be always people trying to grift any kind of money that is possible from the treasury and complaining all the time, right? It's very political and it's not for everyone. And that's why I think we are seeing more and more people delegating power to decentralized voices and other institutions and DAOs in the ecosystem. People don't want to have anything to do with like discussing proposal, reading proposal, and arguing and this kind of things, right? So I see Max join again. Like my comment was more related to the investment world. The fact of the inflation and the cap supply and everything, like it has definitely like a short-term effect on investments. As investor, we probably not look at DOT as closely if you say, okay, we have a cap supply in 1 year, or there will be like kind of a cap supply in 20 years, right? So this is something that maybe you can comment more on it afterwards. And the POP, proof of personhood, I don't know. I really no comment here because proof of stake has been around for quite some time. We have Ethereum that recently transitioned from proof of work to proof of stake. I don't know. Like it's mixed feeling here. It's very opinionated at this point. I don't want to really share this opinion that I'm still maturing in my head. And just saying that it's proof of stake works, of course. If we are overpaying for security or not, okay, I mean, we are overpaying for security, but it's important. And of course, like the fact that Polkadot doesn't have like a strong revenue stream in the sense that it's making revenue out of fees or like core time or like maybe other ecosystem do, like I don't know, Tron, that now it's like a settlement layer. I mean, for USDT payments and stuff like that, they have a huge amount of transaction, huge amount of revenue. Polkadot is not that mature yet, so I think maybe it's a little bit premature to say that we are overpaying for security. But I understand that Polkadot has been around for 4 years, and maybe there should be more radical change. But yeah, I mean, it's again like it's very to say. Yeah, it's something that I'm still discussing and maturing inside my head. Also, with my colleagues, I've been speaking. It's not an easy topic, and it needs research. Definitely needs some really deep research. Transitioning from one things to another like this, it's a drastic change, right? So yeah, I probably leave it to Max here, especially the I don't know, like the effect of the inflation discussion on the investments world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sure.
Pass.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll,
Okay.
I'll pick it up right from where Filippo left off. Well, look, the way I'm thinking about it is dot price matters, right? And dot price has been trending down, and that's obviously very bad, right? Recently, there was this post by Tommy about like WTF is happening with dot, right? Where this was in response to someone from Altcoin Daily, I think, who said like, dot has been one of the very few top assets that has been, dollar negative over the past 2 years. Yeah, dot price matters, and dot price has been going down, right? And I think it is relatively easy to make an argument, right, that dot price has been going down because there has been too much selling, obviously, right? I mean, duh, right? Of course, there has been too much selling, otherwise the price would have gone up. But who are the main people who are selling? And you can do some pretty good analysis, and it's mainly the stakers, right? People who are staking and then getting dot reward and then selling the dot on the market. That's obviously a constant selling pressure. And I think this is where this idea of, that Gavin floated here during the summit, that we are overpaying for security kind of comes from, right? It's the stakers, right, who, put down their stake, get their staking rewards, selling it, right? Yes, that's kind of a drain on the entire crypto economic security model of Polkadot. And that's concerning. And so I think it's great that Gavin tackled this heads on and said, yes, we're overpaying for security. We have to change this because it has a negative effect on the dot price, right? If we're throwing out all the money for security. And now here it starts to get a little bit philosophical because, of course, you can say security is very, very important, right? Security is the most important thing. But at some point, by paying more, you don't get more of the underlying, right? So, let me give you some simple examples from other industries, right? Let's say you really like to eat bread, okay? You go to like a really cheap grocery store and you buy some cheap bread, okay? It doesn't taste very good. Okay, sucks. You go to a good grocery store or a good bakery, you pay a little bit more, you get better bread. And then you go to like a really, really good bakery that makes the best bread in the world, and you pay, whatever, 20 euro for like a loaf of bread. That's kind of expensive, but it's really, really good. It's like the best bread you ever ate. Now, if you go to a bakery that charges you 40 euro, 50 euro, 100 euro, 200 euro, 500 euro for like a loaf of bread, the bread doesn't actually taste better anymore, right? Because it's just impossible to make something better than already really good, right? So you get like very strongly diminishing returns in an economic sense. And it's kind of the same thing for security, right? Imagine, you're like somebody, you're a politician or like a singer or something, and you hire like a bodyguard, right? Because you're concerned about your physical security, you hire a bodyguard. Okay, you hire a great bodyguard, right? You pay him, I don't know, $200,000 a year. Okay, but you want to have a really, really good bodyguard, right? Like a former, military, like Navy SEAL, for example. Okay, maybe you pay him $1 million a year, right? That's like really, really good. Like he's really protecting you as a bodyguard. Now, if you start saying, okay, I'm willing to pay, my security is so important to me, I'm willing to pay $2 million, I'm willing to pay $5 million, right, per year to a bodyguard, you're not really gonna get better security anymore, right? You're not gonna find a better security guard than, let's say a former Navy SEAL, right, who's willing to do it for $1 million a year. So yes, there is like an actual economic argument that you can make about overpaying for security, right? And I think that's kind of what Gavin alluded to here during his talk. We still want to be like the most secure network out there, but at the moment we're overpaying for it. The truth is, like, these validators probably would not leave if we reduced the rewards. They would still be around. It would still be like a decentralized system. we have to, it's kind of, there's like a economic term for it, like the point where you have like the maximum participation at a certain cost, right? And we have to find that price, but it is very, very possible that at the moment we're way above that, right? So by reducing rewards, like staking rewards here, we still get like the same amount of decentralization, right? The same Nakamoto coefficient, right? Or just a minimum changes of Nakamoto coefficient, while massively reducing the spending, and that's something to be very welcome.
Okay, I think Max lost the connection.
Yeah, it'd be a bit latency.
He's not overpaying for internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
I think that Max is right. Because if you think that the democracy is a good choice, you will select a agents to everybody votes for a agents, and we select the agents to make the decisions for us. So if you think that democracy could work, then the POP may works too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it was all good points, like optimizing the system, trying to like
Yeah.
pay. I mean, not pay as less as possible, but keeping it secure. But still, yeah, it makes sense that. I mean, this was also like some of the discussion I had. Like, you can you start paying a little bit and you gain like 50% of security, and then you
Yeah.
pay a little bit and you gain like 75%, and then at a certain point you can pay even more and more and more, right? But you don't gain that much more security because you're already very secure. So it's I mean, the security of Polkadot relies on this like system of roll-up technology that Polkadot uses called ELFs. I don't want to go too much in depth of this, but this is actually how everything is checked within the relay chain, right? And who is checking this? The validator, and the validator have dots staked, and those ones that have most of the dots staked are selected to participate, in the block production system and everything. So it makes sense that you can optimize this system. And currently, maybe, I mean, I'm not the best person to talk about this, but might be not as optimized as it should, and we are really overpaying for security, and there is something to address. But you can do this without switching the system. You can still do it under proof of stake. Like you can still like reduce the rewards and see how it goes, because you don't know how people react. You don't know how this validator will react. There's a lot of interest at stake, right? So making supposition is not really like something that actually like I think works well here. So there should be a lot of research and not a lot of research, but definitely some research, and see if all these claims are true, and then test it. But it's a very sensitive and social topic,
Yeah.
socio-economical topic, right? Because yeah, I mean, I understand like the dot price and everything, but I mean, the inflation was there also like in 2021, and this is it. This is a highly hype-driven industry, right? So the dot inflation has been there. It has been like corrected. It has been decreased. So a lot of stuff has been done, and we can continue to improve it via OpenGov. But this will take all the dot holders to vote, and validators are dot holders, and they are heavily invested in the ecosystem, so their voice is pretty strong. So these are all things that must be kept also, taken into account for.
Okay. Is there some research plan in gonna executed by Web3 or?
Yes, I mean, the whole discussion was very out of the blue, and of course the research team has been a little bit surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like in the current months, there will be like some investigation from the Web3 Foundation research team and see like what can be done. But again, I mean, to reduce the rewards and stuff can be done with proof of stake, the current system. You can still like try to reduce, come up with a better, more appealing, what to say, like dot release schedule in the next years. And yeah. So
Okay.
definitely like will be some interesting time.
Okay, Max, welcome back.
Yeah, sorry. My internet connection here is a little bit crappy, so apologies for getting cut off here once in a while. But yeah, maybe I can just quickly finish like the thought that I was having before. So, I guess the idea that it's possible to overpay for security is real. It's not just imagined. This is like a real thing that you can overpay for security, and that would have a detrimental effect on the dot price because it increases selling pressure by stakers who are selling their rewards. So I'm very happy that Gavin is picking this issue up, that he's realizing that. Also, if you look at the distribution, how much dot we're spending through treasury proposals and how much we're giving to stakers, it's like, I don't remember exactly the number, but it's way more that goes to stakers, right, than that gets spent by the treasury. Like it's 10-1, maybe don't quote me on this number, but it's really like way more that is going out to stakers than through the treasury. And so if you need to balance the budget, right, and I mean this is also like the comparison is interesting to whatever the United States and how they are trying to cut inflation and cut spending, right? I mean, these things kind of often go hand in hand, right? You have to cut spending, right, to cut inflation. That's how an Austrian economist would think about it. So it's kind of a similar conversation here, I think, on Polkadot. Spending and security spending is like the biggest item, on the on what dot is being sold for. A little bit again, like sort of military spending, if you want, right? Maybe we don't need so much military spending for security, like security spending, if you think about it, like compare it to a nation state. Then, so I think it's a move into the right direction. A higher dot price is going to benefit all of us. I think nobody here on this panel will not want to see dot price going higher. We need dot price to go higher, right? All of us. And if it can be, achieved by saving a little bit on spending, then, happy days. I think this is something that all of us are going to be in favor for. And then allow me to say one last word on like proof of personhood. So first of all, it's a bit of a different conversation, right? Like reducing staking rewards and proof of personhood, that's obviously not the same thing, right? That's, that could be like the final goal. And here I just want to like agree with Filippo. This is like super early stage, right? We don't know if this is ever going to happen, right? If it happens, it's going to happen very gradually, right? That, that there's going to be some sort of a dual validation mechanism, right? Where let's say 99% of the crypto economic security is going to be done by a proof of stake system, and then like let's say 1% by like proof of personhood, right? Where somebody says like, oh, I'm a person, I prove it, and therefore I want to get validator rewards without putting any dotted stake, right? So it would be a very, very gradual thing if it comes at all. And, that is kind of good. And also maybe, or very likely it's going to go to Kusama first, which I think it should, right? Like such a massive upgrade. I mean, this should, Kusama, expect chaos. Like this should go to Kusama first. So maybe we'll see someone starting to experiment around there, right? Like a little bit and scaling it up. And if it works and if it makes sense, Polkadot is going to adopt it. But I don't think it's anything that we have to worry about that's going to, come overnight and then surprise all of us. But, that's kind of my rant here. I think Gavin is onto something big here, and I'm actually really excited to see this getting hashed out.
Okay, cool. And thanks for sharing. There's a tons of knowledge here. And we are running out of time, and we have a last topic to touch on. And I think we can wrap it up very quickly. And for this, for the last topic, anyone can share your opinion freely. And if you have opinion, you can share. If you don't have, you can just skip it. So according to Gavin's proposal, annual security spending could drop from a 500 million to 60 million, and an 82% reduction. What do you think will happen to the dot that freed up? Will it flood? Will it flood the market as a sell pressure or flow into DeFi protocols? Anyone want to touch on this?
Well, I can see that it could be a different aspect. It would not be the money would go into the DeFi. It might be a chance for a DeFi to go into the Polkadot system, because there would be a dozen of caches be unstacked from the Polkadot's mainstream, and we would see that there would be a dozen of money. So it would be a good chance for the DeFi programs to go into the Polkadot ecosystem, and once the DeFi system go into the Polkadot, and it would be a big flow of monies running in the Polkadot system, and I consider it would be a good chance for Polkadot to get higher price, and everybody would be happier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be the optimistic part. Yeah, I would think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really, I didn't really get it. I mean, this 500 million is coming from inflation, right?
Yes.
So this is like it's not really 500, it's a bit less, because it's 120 million dot times 0.85, which is the 85% of inflation goes to stakers.
Mm-hmm.
Times 4 is like 400 million or something. This is what actually, assuming the price is constant. I mean, this is not, but anyway, like this is what it gets paid every year to pay for stakers, right? This is the inflation. If the inflation gets reduced, there will be no dot going freely in the market. There will be no dot at all. They will not be released. There is nothing, like it's not that these dot are freed and go somewhere else. It's less issuance. It means that instead of releasing 400 million a year, you release like 50, right? And this is what you pay the maintainers to run the nodes and everything. What will happen is think like what Tyrone has been saying, right? I mean, you don't have any more to park your dot and leave them there forever just because you get this juicy 12-13%. But if you want to get more passive income and stuff like this, you have to go to DeFi products. So this will create the condition where the tokens are moved more often. You create a condition where people will be moving their funds better in the ecosystem, which is actually very easily with XCM, with the cross-chain protocol. You can easily move DOT from the relay chain to Bifrost or to hydration and do something else, right? People don't do it right now, especially people that have a lot of dots, because it's way hands-off, do nothing, park them dot there, log them, and I just get my 15%, 13%, right? So this is actually what happened, in my opinion. It will create the condition where people are moving their funds more into the ecosystem, which is very good. I think this is what Polkadot has been lacking I mean, a lot of DOT remaining to the relay chain in staking. And this is what actually I think what Gavin is hinting, this overpaying for security is just because people are lazy, they have this juicy thing, and they just park them there and do nothing. So this is actually a very important point, I think. But I want to again stress that there will be no free DOT that will go to market or will go back to DeFi products and stuff like this. There will be less inflation. So instead of releasing 120 million, you just release, I don't know, 20, right? And some goes to the treasury and the rest goes to the maintainers, and the maintainers are able to maintain their equipment and make a living out of it, maybe, or at least have some decent income for their service.
Yeah, it's more like, if the staking incentive reduced a lot, people will not stake. They will unlock their staking DOT. It's more like this. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, this is something that needs to take into account. If they will to unlock the DOT, and then they can decide what to do, right? This is actually a very important topic. This is why I think it's a very sensitive topic too, right? Because it's a socio-economical problem and needs a little bit of sensitivity.
Yeah, but I think that as the POP going on, and also we reducing the inflations, so we got a lower APR. So at the same time, the people unstake their money. So we know that once the people start spending their monies, the cash would go, the cash flow will go on, and once the cash flow go on, the market would be more dynamic, and yeah, and also if we have more DeFi's on the Polkadot ecosystems, if the APRs on the DeFi's is higher than the staking, and the money would might go into the DeFi system, and once they notice that they can earn money on the DeFi, and more people would go in, and maybe the market would be more people, and once there's where's the cash flows go on, and where's the people's, and more people, and bring more cash flows, and it would be going on cycles and cycles. Yeah, that would be the most optimistic thoughts.
Yeah. So Max and Tyron, do you have something to add?
Yeah,
Or we
maybe
can-
last thought. I mean, I think we essentially covered it all already, but I think it's a dual advantage. There are two distinct advantages that come from, from reducing staking rewards, right? The one is that, like as Filippo said, less money, less DOT go to stakers, and less selling pressure comes as a result of that, right? So that is in itself, that's like the main thing, that's the big thing, and that I think will benefit the DOT price. Fewer people selling, right? Lower staking rewards, lower inflation, fewer people selling, DOT price going up. So I think that's one mechanism. And the second mechanism has already been touched upon today as well, and that is the competition to staking rewards in the DeFi ecosystem, right? So if you do interesting, DeFi products, they have to compete with the relatively high staking rewards for DOT, and that's hard, right? So, lower inflation means less competition. Think of it as the risk-free rate. That's actually a very good word here, the risk-free rate, right? Like in traditional economics, that's usually like sort of the yield of treasury bonds. That's the risk-free rate. So if the rate is low, right, the risk-free rate is low, then people go into, let's say, venture capital or whatever, right? Like sort of into more high-risk enterprises. But if you have $1,000 and all you have to do is buy treasury bonds and you get like really high risk-free returns out of it, then why would you bother investing in the stock market, in the VC market, right? If you can just park it in treasury bonds and get, free money essentially at no risk. Same thing with high staking rewards. So I think, this is something we should do. Gavin is onto something big here. If this is getting followed through on, then I think it's going to be a clear net positive for Polkadot.
Okay. So Tarin, do you have something to add?
Let's say right now Ethereum go to the staking reward around 10%, and how many DeFi protocol in Ethereum you think they will survive right now? So everybody will dead, right? Because every user's liquidity will go into farming for Ethereum staking reward, and nobody care about DeFi, right? USDC, USD, SUSD, all of them will be dead, and also the votes, custodians will dead, so nobody can compete with that. So that's the situation what we're facing right now in the DeFi or Polkadot, to be honest. Yes, this need to be resolved, and also security is backing by the price, to be honest. Without talking about price, how many token you're holding is worthless, right? So the security is nonsense. And the prices depends on the liquidity, how much of liquidity can flows into the ecosystem, and the liquidity, it depends on the applications. That's what I want to talk about is how fast a team can deploy an application on Polkadot right now. I'll give you the simple case. In about 2 days ago, Ethena in Ethereum, they announced a big stable coin yield opportunity in Aave. And in the second day, there is an application about you can automate an automation protocol. You can easily amplify and leverage multiple times in Aave for the stable coins yield. This just in the second day, and then they launched this application. This is really fast. And then the result is the Aave campaign was fulfilled to the cap in maybe just in about half of the day. So the liquidity was coming, was accumulating about 1.5 billion. That's really fast. That's really a faster tracking. So how this can happen in Polkadot? Is there an opportunity that a team can deploy that fast application in us? So that's the question mark. And also something that we can expect for the pre-compile once it's live in the Polkadot hub, right? So I mean, this is the simple logic, right? Something need to easy to deploy, and then is accumulating for liquidity, and then there's a price, and then the consensus of security will be fundamented. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good to hear that. Yeah, the high inflation is not very good for DeFi, and maybe it's very optimistic that this more dot will flow into the DeFi protocol in Polkadot ecosystem. It's too good to hear. So, all right, I think we've touched all the topic for today, and thank you for everyone being here with us, and thanks for guests for sharing your insights. And I recommend everyone to follow all of our guests and stay updated for everything happening in their project. And you can also follow Polkadot. We will keep you posted on everything happening about them and Polkadot. So I think that's all for today. And until next time, and see you all. See you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye. 我还没关。